Hi guys, you're back again for another episode of Learning to Code. And today we have Ken Lo, right? And Ken Lo is an alumni of Next Academy. So I know a lot of people will want to ask questions about, coding and he's going to share his journey with us as well on his coding journey as well as what he is doing right now. And to Instagram people, welcome back again. Okay, Ken. So why don't you share with us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your coding journey? Yeah.
Okay, I'm Ken, 29 years old, and I
Are you still single? And
PNC. So I joined Next Academy about 2 years ago in July.
That's quite some time.
Yeah, 2 years ago in July. Back then, they only had the iOS course, course and
the full stack
web development, both full-time courses. So at the moment, they didn't have part-time yet.
Mm-hmm.
And they were teaching Ruby on Rails.
Yeah.
Ruby as a language and Rails as a framework. So over 10 weeks, I got to learn building a few apps. Like we cloned Airbnb, we cloned Facebook, and we also did our final project for the pitch. And we learned a lot of fundamentals in coding in 10 weeks. It was quite intense. Yeah, but somehow or another, I made it, and I got out and changed my career into a developer.
So maybe you could share with us, what were you doing before?
Yeah, I was a graphic designer before.
Photographer.
Freelance, yeah. I used to work as a commercial photographer assistant for one of the biggest studios in Malaysia. So yeah.
Okay, and then you learn to code. So maybe just also share with us, like I know that you were previously doing graphic designing, which a lot of people actually does graphic designing, right?
Yep.
And why is there a need to actually code? I mean, you can just design graphic and that's it, right?
Yeah, I used to think that way as well. And when you learn the code, you realize that there are actually limitations to what you can do in terms of design and integrating it into a workable web page for the user.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not so clear cut as just design and just put it on the screen. There's a lot of things you have to take into consideration.
Different sizes.
Yeah.
The mobile responsiveness.
Yeah. That's the major one, mobile responsiveness.
Yeah. I think that's the greatest fear for a lot of front-end developers, right?
Yeah. I didn't realize this until I started working as a developer. There's so many things you need to take into account, like different browsers might behave differently to your codes. Even different OS, like between Android and iOS, will have different behaviors. Like some things are very limited on iOS, and Android is pretty much you can do anything. Even on Mac OS and Windows, there are some differences when you apply your code to the web page. So yeah, we learn along the way. A lot of trial and error when you first start working. Yeah, this is the stuff that they don't tell you when when you are learning.
Well, you need to learn it the hard way. You realize you realize that there are so many browsers.
Yeah.
That's why it's very important to learn how to use Flex properly, Bootstrap properly, make your life a lot easier.
Bootstrap to a certain extent because sometimes you need to customize the data.
Yeah, definitely.
It becomes a hindrance sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe you could share with us, like, what is your role now and where you're working at?
Okay. My official role is front-end developer at Indochine Media Ventures.
Oh, that's an unofficial role.
Yeah. Because I'm the only developer in the office, so anything developer related falls onto my desk. So sometimes it can be back-end, it can be a bit of DevOps, deployment, but bulk of it, 90% of it is front-end.
Yeah.
So there's that remaining 10% where I'm on Stack Overflow, looking out at things I don't understand. Yeah.
So what? Okay, maybe you can share with everyone also. So what is one of the most memorable thing that you have done with code?
Canvassing.
Canvassing.
Actually, on front end, I learned canvassing in a really short time. I forced myself to learn canvassing in a really short time to build a game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I went along, then I realized it's actually a lot like Photoshop. As a
Uh-huh.
graphic designer, there are layers like, so you can layer your canvas and what appears at the back, in the middle, at the most front. Then that's like, oh, this is really interesting. Then I see parallels to graphic design over there, but with code.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So maybe one day you could, if you know your game is still up, you could share it. All right. So Steven Walter Kian, yeah, is it your friend?
My colleague.
Oh, it's your colleague. So he asked, I'm wondering if I want to learn to code at my age now, will it be too late? Need your advice on this. Okay.
It's never too late.
So it's never too late,
Never too
Steven. So we wouldn't want to ask about but do you have any advice for him?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to appear stupid, because there is no such thing as a stupid question. Most senior developers I know are more than willing to help beginners, because they are very happy to see people come in and join their ranks as web developers or as programmers. It's a very open community, and it's never too late. You can always go try.
Okay, and then Kevin Young asked as well, will I be able to learn to hack into my mother's Facebook account from you, Mr. Ken?
Not from me. Maybe from someone else.
I have no idea why you want to hack your mother's Facebook account as well. So what are you going to do with it, man? You have no idea.
Creepy guy.
Creepy guy. Okay. So, guys, you feel free to ask us questions, right? Drop those questions in, and we'll answer them. And for Jeffrey Zal, yes, we are still live, so please do ask us questions. But let's go on to some of the questions that people provide us previously. Okay, one of it is this from Dr. Wan. Dr. Wan asks, what languages should I learn for Android development? So what languages should I learn for Android development?
Okay, you can learn either Java, which is one of the most supported languages for Google Android development, or Kotlin. Okay, and the reason is that Java is much more complex for a beginner. So let's say if you're just starting out, it's better to go with Kotlin. It's less complex, and it actually cooperates with Java. It can work with Java. So you can learn Kotlin first, and if you feel like you still want to do Java after that, you still can go for it.
Yeah, so Java or Kotlin will be great. At the same time, you also like Dr. Wan, you probably want to think about what is the goal that you want to achieve as well. Like, for example, is it purely on Android, right? Or is it going to be on Android as well as is it going to be on app as well, like a browser as well? Is it a web app as well as a mobile app? So those are some of the key things to keep in mind, to think about, because when you want to, there are different goals that you have could impact the different considerations, right? You would probably use different technology stacks. For example, if you have different goals, for example, if it's Android that you want it on iOS as well as on a web app, for example, then you need to think about different interfaces would have different languages, and then the backend would be different as well. So there are quite a number of considerations. So maybe what you can do, Dr. Wan, the next time is put in some of your, maybe elaborate a little bit more, and we will be able to help you. Okay, guys, one key thing, right? If you all actually find that this is a very valuable session for some of your friends, do share and do tag them and do tell them that that there is this live like Q&A, and ask us any questions. Okay, let's go to the second one. All right, it's by Fairul. Fairul asks, how long does it take to become a master in coding? Master in coding, guys. How long does it take to become a master in coding?
Okay, that depends entirely on what you want to do. Because when it comes to coding, there's a lot of things you can do. Machine learning is one.
Yep.
Web development is one. Data analyzing is another one.
Yep.
But to put it broadly, there is no master. Because it's always changing.
Yeah.
It's ever changing landscape, and there's always something new to learn. it's not a matter of how long it becomes a master. It's how
Yeah.
long you can become competent in your chosen field
Yeah.
of programming. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's very true. So, never stop learning.
Yeah, it's not just becoming competent, it's staying competent at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah, staying competent is so because imagine if you don't code for 1 year, you kind of like be behind and kind of obsolete already.
Yeah. What I've heard from senior developers is that once you stagnate for 1 year and you look for a new company to work for, it's very hard because you sort of like keep abreast of the latest technologies. Yeah.
So okay, so I think I think from my end, to add, right, would be, there's no such. It's very hard to say who's a master or whatnot, right? It's just a term that we throw around, right? But I think one key thing is this: when you become a more seasoned developer, usually seasoned developers are not worried about changing technology stacks, right? As a beginner, as when you're starting out, it's very normal for you to start off with one technology stack and then be very good at it first. Then when you start becoming more senior, then you are the key thing is you need to be adaptable to other technology stack. And if you have been coding for, let's just say 2-3 years or 5-6 years, and you cannot adapt to other technology stack, I think that will be that will be quite problematic. So a software developer, has the ability to adapt to new technology. And when new technology comes and new technology changes, they are usually quite okay to just change. Yeah. Have anything else to add?
Regarding adapting new technologies, I think like a lot of people ask me like what language should I learn first.
Yeah.
I think this ties in a bit to that you can learn whichever one first, like whichever one that you can understand the easiest, like a high level language. And after that, the concepts are same across the languages. Yeah, it's just the syntax that is different. So it's actually not that hard to switch stacks, so to speak. It's just the confidence to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so someone on the comments is actually asking, his name is Kirito. Kirito asks, what kind of jobs do I get if I learn coding? So it's insane because with technology coming up right now, it's opening up a lot of different jobs as well.
Interesting because maybe 3 years ago, there wasn't such a position called a UI UX developer, and apparently now it's one of the highest paying positions for entry level programmers. But that is the new thing now. UI UX is like all the companies are jumping onto it, and there are a lot of openings for that. But it requires more skill than just a regular program.
UI UX require aside. There are people. What do you think? There are people who they call themselves UI UX designer, but they cannot code, versus a UI UX developer.
Okay, I put it this way. Maybe the designer doesn't know how to code, but the designer understands how the code will function or how to interact with browsers across different platforms. And developer might be the one that can do both. Yeah, they can design and then they can implement.
Okay, so I think right now when it comes to the amount, like Kirito, when it comes to the amount of jobs, I think today
so many.
So long you need to use a computer. You kind of actually need to use coding to a certain extent, right? For example, like if you say you want to build an app, yes, you need to code. If you say you want to build a website, yes, there are a lot of platforms that allows you to build everything from scratch, but believe it or not, there is a reason why people are still looking for coders. Is because platforms, they do give you a general thing, but if you want customization, you would need it. You want to build certain games, you would need it as well. Game developers need to learn how to code as well, right? Like what you say, the UI UX people, they may or may not code, but they need to understand code, right? And beyond that, project management, product management roles.
Machine learning is also quite new.
Machine learning is quite new. AI also.
AI.
BI, business intelligence. When you have so much data that your Google, your Excel, your Microsoft Excel cannot help you, people rely on code to actually look into data. So yes, right, there are a lot of opportunities. The question for yourself is, what do you want to venture into? It's just crazy, the amount of things. Kirito, I do hope that we have already answered you. Oh wow, there are quite a number of other questions as well. So Stan Chua asks, are companies looking more towards mobile apps, or are they still favoring web and desktop apps?
The trend is actually moving more towards mobile. I can actually see this in the numbers that that I get from my company. That mobile users is around 60%, but I predict that trend to continue to grow.
Yep.
Maybe more towards 70-80% over the next 2-3 years.
Yep.
Yeah, but having a web app is also safe because like when somebody's in the office or when they're at home in front of a computer, their hands are already on the mouse and keyboard, and that's where they go to first instead of reaching out to the phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like for Stan, I think not just that, right? I think one key thing is this. Yes, there are a lot of people who are using mobile, right? But one key thing I also do notice is that you need to make sure that it is mobile responsive. Sometimes is it going to become an app or not on the mobile phone? It might be a different thing. Like sometimes, like for me personally, I actually go on Facebook.com. On my mobile phone, I actually go on Facebook.com, but I do not actually download the app, right? So there are people like me who have all these habits as well. For example, if I go on Faith, I go on a few sites actually. I do not download the app. I actually go to the browser.
Right?
I type in the browser. Only as and when I see the need, right? As and when I realize that, I've been using Faith a lot, right? I've been using Faith quite a number of times. Okay, then only I will start downloading the app. If not, I don't see the need to download too many apps. So there are definitely still a group of people. There are definitely people who are still looking to the mobile apps, right? There are people like me who don't download apps. They also need to cater to us. So which is why right now there are PWA, progressive web apps and stuff like these are all coming where the lines are being blurred as well. Yeah. So it's a very interesting thing. It's like
I think we get more mobile users because it's very accessible.
Yeah.
So because like our company sends out EDMs for like new articles and stuff, you just take out the phone. Then that's where we get our numbers from. But I can't speak for other industries because mine is my industry is more to digital publication. So on mobile is like it's easy to digest. Yeah, right. From email you get the newsletter, you just click and there's the article. And but some things are better consumed on a bigger screen. On a desktop like YouTube, for example. Or your Netflix is better to watch it on the bigger screen. So it depends on which industry as well.
So Stan, if you're thinking about, let's just say if you're an entrepreneur thinking about starting let's just say thinking about what should I start off with, so I would just say that there are mobile apps is definitely people are still using it, but at the same time definitely think about the web app as well. Do not discard it because there is a lot of humans like people like me, a lot of us, right, who do not immediately download an app. For us, we want to use something first to be familiarized with it before we start actually downloading the app. But when you're doing app, why do people still build apps? Is because they want to leverage on the mobile phone's functionality, and maybe sometimes they need to leverage quite a bit of the functionalities in here. Then they need to actually build an app with it lah. So I hope that answers you, Stan. If you have more questions, feel free to drop those questions in. Okay. Let's just also answer Muhammad Yaqub. So Muhammad Yaqub is on the comments, right? So he said this: I'm more of a front-end developer. Mostly I'm using a back-end framework, but I can't really tweak codes when I need to. I know PHP, but I'm a script kiddie for it. Okay. Yes. Oh, you actually, we saw your question, right? Thanks so much for submitting in your questions previously. So, you are a front-end developer, but when it comes to back-end, you probably need to copy paste code, but don't really understand them. So the question here is, what can you do to help you level up from there? Yes.
I think one of the most important questions, like, to answer this is, are you working alone or are you in a team? Are you just like me, like, you sometimes have to do the back end because like you're the only person there. But if you're like in my situation, then I guess you have to learn what you're using. But let's say for some reason you can't tweak the code, maybe you're restricted from it, or is I don't know, got no access to it, then maybe suggest your company to build a new one from scratch. Because this is what we call technical debt. You have to pay it sooner or later. So it's better to do it now, or you go deeper in, and then it gets much more messier, and it'd be worse to untangle after that.
Yeah. So Is, right? I think, is that how we pronounce your name? Isaac Zach. So Is Muhammad Is. Okay. So Muhammad Is. Yeah. So just now when he actually mentioned about technical debt, so sometimes what happens is that when you have a legacy platform to use, and then when you go into the system and
it happens when there's like no proper handover.
No proper handover, no proper documentation, and people write stuff and you're like, I don't understand what he's trying to write. What was he thinking when he write this?
Yeah, it happens. So you got to deal with it the best you can. But if, like you said, if you can't tweak the codes for whatever reason, then it's better to start a fresh one.
Sometimes that happens. But also the second thing is that when you are, let's just say you said you know PHP, but you're still a script kiddie for it. So let's just say you get into the code and you needed to get something running, and you actually went on Stack Overflow, for example, to search for an answer, and then you copy and paste the code, and then you put it into the software. It works, but you don't know why it works, and you don't know how to tweak it. I would say that one key thing is this: it's good that you actually started. It's good that you know how to find what you need, and then you know how to kind of like take it and plunk it into your software or your app. It's fine. One key thing is that it's best if you actually understand what you're doing, right? Because imagine you take a code, right, and you don't understand. Maybe 100, okay, maybe let's just say there is like 50 lines of code. Actually, only the 3 lines of code do what you need to do. Then the remaining, 47 lines of code actually does something else, which you don't understand what's happening. It's very dangerous because if people just copy and paste code like this, it can become quite vulnerable, right? I know that Stack Overflow people do, because there are a lot of people there, so people do keep an eye and look out on all the solutions, and if the solution have very malicious code, they will flag it, right? But still, you kind of need to understand what's happening as well. So I do suggest, right, for you if you want to level up, it's time to move on from just copy and pasting to start to understand what is how those things function. If the last thing you want is your app to become a Frankenstein, right? Like a monster being put together with different hands, different legs.
So and then when you hand over to the next guy, and then he's gonna get it worse than
the next the next guy is going to be if you don't write it properly, your documentation is not it's not proper. You don't understand what you're writing, right? The next guy is going to come here and then ask us the same question, like, I cannot tweak the code when I need to. How? So I think Muhammad is, be careful, okay? But yeah, I think for you is I think what you really are looking for is to level up, is to really understand the things that you're doing, and I think that is a very good direction that you're going now.
To be clear, there's nothing wrong with copy and pasting from Stack Overflow.
There's nothing wrong.
You need to know what you're copy and pasting.
Okay. Before we move on to the next question that let me see. Oh, so many questions. Okay. Before we move on to the next question, let us just answer some of the questions that people have here as well, right? So Afif asks, how do you choose which programming language to learn for beginners? Let's start with you.
Back to this again. You need to know what your goal is. What is your goal in programming? So, like, it depends. If you want to do machine learning or AI, Python is the way to go. If you want to be a web developer, you can always start with JavaScript or Ruby as higher level language. So it depends on what you want to do, but you can I don't know, you can go to Code Academy to get a feel for it, or W3 schools.
Yeah.
But usually go for the higher level languages that what we call high level languages. They are similar to English, so they are easier to understand. Rather than low level, maybe an example of high levels: Ruby, JavaScript, Python. On low levels, like assembly languages like C. So high level languages will be easier to learn as a beginner and see where you go from there. Because once you learn one language, like I said, the concept is the same. It's just the syntax that's different.
I think for me, I've seen a lot of people who are really overwhelmed with which language to start, that because they were spending so much time on choosing which language to start, they end up not starting to code, right? So basically,
okay, if you're just looking for a definite answer, Python. Just go for Python.
so basically, guys, like honestly speaking, like coding, a computer is a multilingual genius. Okay, it understands a lot of different languages, right? So basically, you want to code, you want to talk to your coding, you want to talk to your computer, the computer just say like any language you understand, I will know lah, right? So, but just like what Ken say, there's high level languages, low level languages. So high level languages sounds more like English, right? Low level languages is closer to the computer language. So obviously, us as humans,
ones and zeros.
Low level, very low levels are one and zeros.
Binary.
But for us human beings, right? The easier it is, the more similar it is to our everyday language, then the easier it is for us to learn, right? Which is why we talk about Python, Ruby, JavaScript as well. So those are some of the key things. At Next Academy, what we do is, as a start, we get you comfortable with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? And then after that, we continue with Python, because one of the reasons HTML, CSS, JavaScript, because those are needed when you want to build a website, right? Everything you look and feel of the website, you need those three musketeers. You need those three musketeers, right? But also Python, because it's not just easy to learn, but also because there are a lot of new technology that are using Python, right? For example, people talk about data, you need Python. IoT also use Python.
Even game developers use Python, like Unity Engine, all this, it's Python.
So people, so more and more people. So one interesting thing is that Python opens up a lot of doors just by knowing one language, right? It gives you a lot of opportunity to specialize in different fields, right? At Next Academy, we teach Python, but we specialize in building apps. But we also do see our students, after they learn Python, they know how to build apps, they go self-learn, data, machine learning by themselves. I've seen some people self-learn how to write trading algorithms with Python. So it's perfectly, I think it's very interesting. The language wars are very, very interesting. Everyone wants to fight for popularity. It's another ball game altogether.
It depends I just try to stay out of that argument altogether.
Everyone will have a different different thing.
Some people will be elitist and say HTML and CSS are not programming languages.
Which is technically true. They are not exactly programming languages.
Doesn't matter as long as you know.
but the thing is this, right? It is not programming languages, but at the same time, if you want to create a website, want to create a web app or anything, you need it. You need it.
You can't run from it.
So it's
it has to be there.
Regardless, you need. So Sylvia, Simon, you asked which programming language should we learn or focus first. So it really depends on your needs, right? That's what you say.
But generally you can't go wrong with Python.
So Python, if you're building for front end, well, Python cannot do anything for front end Front end would be HTML, CSS, JavaScript. But if you want to use for scripting, for backend, or to do data science or to do machine learning, AI or whatnot, then Python would be the way to go. So the big question by the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, what is the ultimate goal you want, right? Like for example, as a marketer, for me, I'm a marketer. So as a marketer, I make sure that I am familiar with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, because for marketing, a lot of trackings rely on JavaScript. So those are the key things that I need to rely on. So I don't need to rely too much on Python, for example. So it really depends on your needs. So I hope that answers your question, Simon. Sylvia, Simon. All right, Martin asks you, I like your t-shirt, Ken. But what is the stack that are more suitable for heavy data analytics and machine learning application?
Wow.
Dun dun dun.
I'm gonna say Python,
Yes,
but don't
it's
quote me on that. I'm sure, I think more legacy systems use older,
Yeah.
like Java or
I think right
some
now,
even COBOL.
yeah, the simplest
But
one is Python.
The more
lah.
modern ones will be Python.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I hope that. So yes, I do agree. The more modern ones will be Python. You want to do data analytics and machine learning. Why? The big question is why. Remember that one key thing when it comes to programming languages, I think we all is about the community behind. It is about the community behind the programming languages.
As a rule, the
Yeah.
bigger your ecosystem, the easier it is to sort of debug.
Yeah.
Because whatever problems you run into, somebody else would have run into it before and solved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's safer to join to use a language that has a huge ecosystem and good support,
Yeah.
because it also comes with good security at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one key thing, I mean, honestly speaking, everything we do, right, multiple language can use it. Honestly speaking, if you say, I want to do machine learning with Ruby, I want to do machine learning with JavaScript, it is actually possible. But why do people, why is that not happening?
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are better tools for certain tasks.
Yeah. And one thing with Python is what is it called? The community, right? And believe it or not, the community is actively building the machine learning libraries and machine learning frameworks for Python, which is why it makes it a lot easier for you to use Python. So because there's a community behind it championing it, then it makes it easier for you to actually use it. But if there for another language, there are another language that is also very powerful, it's also very amazing, but they have no community championing it. So by the end, they also no community behind it means you wouldn't be able to find any answers or any
your
solutions.
ecosystem is gone.
Yeah, so ecosystem really plays a difference. Okay, so I do hope that answers your questions, Martin. So let's just go on to the next person, right? So there's one question by Lorenzo who asks, what is the latest and mostly used coding language and framework? It's pretty much the same question again.
Yeah.
But let's
also
try
depends on industry again.
and depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
So again, machine learning AI is Python. Even game development, Unity Engine Python. I think Unreal Engine is C#.
Yeah.
Yeah. Web development is between JavaScript, Golang,
Python
Ruby,
also.
Python
Ruby
also.
Yeah, all sorts, right? It's just never ending.
Yeah.
It's a never ending thing.
But if you want one that encompasses
a
lot of things, it's JavaScript.
JavaScript does, front end, back end.
Yeah.
I mean, those are
Node.js is the framework.
Yeah, it's the framework.
Express,
Yeah.
Node.js Express.
So Lorenzo, it depends what you want to do. Are you focused on front end or are you focused on back end? If front end, then JavaScript, right?
Yep.
JavaScript because JavaScript.
So popular frameworks for JavaScript would be React, Vue, Angular.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these three are the three big ones currently in the industry.
And then I think for backend is so fragmented. It's very fragmented. Everyone have different goals. Everyone have different. It really depends for backend. It really depends what you want to achieve, right? But if you want to start learning, the first thing is don't get overwhelmed by all the languages, all the frameworks, because it will never end one. Popularity is a popularity.
There's literally something new every day.
Yeah.
So it's never ending. So it's best to stick to one.
So today, if something that you think is so popular today, you think that 2 years down the road it won't die off. It can die off. Okay, things happen. Okay, but the goal is you need to make sure your fundamentals are strong so that you can adapt to new technology.
Yeah, don't focus too much on frameworks. But if let's say you want to master, you can't really master per se. But if you want to be really competent in something, don't focus on the frameworks first. Focus on the language itself. So instead of going for full-on React, but your JavaScript's only like 20%, I don't recommend that. Just go for as much JavaScript as you can.
Yeah.
Then you can go like React or Vue or
Angular.
Angular. So if one fails, you still have the other two to fall back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the advice is be good with your fundamentals,
Yeah.
right?
Fundamentals.
Don't go for all the shortcuts. Like, frameworks is powerful, but they make your life so much easier. But it's kind of like a shortcut per se, right? Don't just focus on shortcuts. You need to make sure that your fundamentals are strong so that whatever shortcuts come, you can adapt to it. Because shortcuts today is popular, tomorrow might not be. So that's life. Okay, Jeffrey Zhao asks, I know I'm zero in coding, but I love to learn something like to do data visualization using charts. Okay, wait, infographic data visualization software full of charts. Okay, so basically Jeffrey, you're asking what language could help you visualize data. I'm assuming that's what you're asking.
HTML, CSS, JavaScript.
HTML, CSS, JavaScript is one of them. Python as well. So
if you know how to integrate APIs, it could help you a lot as well.
Yeah, Python does help with a lot of data visualization as well. So those are the key things to take a look at right? Because by the end of the day, you definitely want your chart, your data to always update itself when the new numbers come in, right? So those are understanding APIs matters as well, right? Because those things will help you. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Okay, let's answer one of the things now. Okay, Shi Hui asked, Shi Hui is a chemist, right? And Shi Hui asked, how does coding help me in my career as a chemist?
Wow.
Do you know anything about chemistry?
Not at all. I'm an art major. So, okay, what little I know about chemists, I think there's a lot of maths involved.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you can code your own calculators.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shi Hui, I personally do not know what chemists do, but I can tell you how an accountant actually use code to change things, right? So here's the story, and this is actually by an alumni. So it's quite cool. I really love that story, by the way. So accountants, what do they need to do? They need to look at numbers every day. They need to go through reports, take the report out, and then need to put the report in and double check data entry and so on. So sometimes a lot of those things happen. So what happens is that this person actually had 40,000 reports.
Wow.
To work on, but all the reports, interesting story, 40,000 reports, all the reports are all PDFs and e-copies, right? It's not like paper lah.
Yeah.
So thank God for that.
Save the
Okay,
keys.
40,000 reports, 40 people in a team. Everyone would need to work on 1,000 reports, and everything must be completed in 5 weeks. Okay, 1,000 reports, right? So how many reports you need to do per day? 200.
Okay.
No, per week, 200. Okay.
Yeah.
So this guy, what he did was that he looked at all this stuff and he realized that there is a certain pattern, right? When he was looking for all this information, he realized, oh, there's a pattern. I tend to look at the date of the report. I tend to get numbers when the words are related to this term. Then I get the numbers out of it. So that's what he did. He actually wrote an app. So first day in, he was doing it and he realized that, okay, why don't I just try and write an app? Then he actually showed it to his manager, right? The manager looked at it, he said, wow, this sounds like a very good solution, right? Just put all the 40,000 reports to the app and then the app will come out with all the answers. Like, that sounds very interesting. So they actually brought it up to the big boss, and the big boss was like, wow, actually not bad, good idea. So the big boss said, why don't I just give you 1 week, right? I give you 1 week, you come up with an app and then run through these 40,000 reports. And he did that. So 1 week later, he came back with an app, and the 40,000 reports was done in 11 minutes. 11 minutes, guys, 11 minutes. And that's it, right? And then they double check, they cross check all the information inside the reports, and everything was perfect. Everything was great. Duplicates were taken away, and what figures they need were all in there. They check already. So I think that is one key thing of how an accountant use technology to help him make his life easier. Right?
Yeah. So I guess you can apply it in the same way of being a chemist, how to make it more efficient.
Yeah. Efficiency. The first thing you can start off with is efficiency. What are some of the things that you do and you feel like this is the most mundane thing that I'm doing every single day, repeatedly, and that is the first step you can do to automate it, right? Just like the data entry thing lah. No one wants to do data entry, right? So can you imagine data entry? 40,000 reports. I don't think I can survive. Okay, so let's just look at some of the questions here. We have quite a number of questions. So, okay, let's see. Wow, there are so many. Learn about. They say we should learn the hardest first. Okay. So, Muhammad is asked. I look a lot. They said that we should learn the hardest language first. Then you can conquer Python and so on pretty easily. Okay, what are your thoughts?
You learn a lot of fundamentals if you go like the low-level languages. You understand more about the concept of coding, but are you going to use it?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because if you're gonna learn the low-level stuff and then you're gonna end up using the high-level language in your career, then I don't think there's a point in it. But whether learning C++ first will help you learn Python faster or not, I think it's up in the air. I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. It's better to just focus your time on your goal, which is maybe to learn Python. Maybe you're into AI, so learning AI is your goal, and focus your time into learning Python instead of learning something you might not use. Yeah.
Okay, guys. People like to say learn the hardest thing first and then go for the easy one later, right? Honestly speaking, that is why a lot of people lost interest in software engineering, because the learning curve is so tough that they just give up and left without knowing how fun it can be. So the approach we take is like what Ken say, find something that you are a language that people are going to use and things like that. Yes, definitely it. But at the same time, we ourselves need to ask ourselves our learning styles as well. For us, we start off with Python, right? Because the key thing about learning to code is not really the language, right? I mean, language is important, but the most important thing is putting things together. It's computational thinking, it's problem solving. And the key thing is you can use Python, you can use C++ to execute the problem solving things. People fail not at the language bit, people fail at problem solving. So our goal here is to develop your problem solving skills fast. So that, and because Python is easy to learn, you develop your problem solving skills fast. When your problem solving skills is strong, then in the future you want to go for different languages, harder languages, lower level languages, you would still use the same problem solving mindset to actually approach those languages. I know so many people who tell me that they know 10 different languages. I know C++, I know C#, I know C, I know Java, I know Python, I know Ruby, I know blah, 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 10 different languages, okay? List them down, everything in your resume. And I ask them to build, I give them a very simple algorithm and say, okay, you say you know all these things, amazing. Okay, here's an algorithm, please solve it. And they cannot do it. Versus someone who only know one language and know one language really well, let's just say the person knows Python, and I give them the algorithm and they can solve it. Who do you think I'll hire? Right? It's easy for me to train someone to pick up a language. It's hard for me to train someone to develop problem solving skills. And what you need to do is not about, it's not about how many languages, the hardest languages. It's about developing your problem solving skills. If your problem solving skills is good, languages, you can go from one language to another language. The same problem solving skill apply. But if you can have all the, you can learn all the languages all over the world, but you cannot even solve a problem with what you have learned, then it's pointless. Yeah, I hope that really answers. So key thing know your learning styles, right? And focus on what is needed. The key thing is problem solving and computational thinking. That is the thing that defines a good developer from normal developers. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Wow. Okay.
Erway, hello.
Hi, Erway. Well, we have a lot of other things to catch up. Okay. Okay. Let me just see. Okay, while we are looking through those questions, I think there is one particular, but Nihilas asks a question. What is basic knowledge needed? What basic knowledge is needed to become a coder? What do you think?
Okay, from my point of view, nothing special. Is just that you are willing to learn, you're willing to deal with the frustration, because it will be frustrating learning how to code from nothing. I can tell you from experience. And learning how to research. I think one of the most important skills you have is, like she said earlier, computational thinking and problem solving. One of the most useful tools in that area would be pseudocoding. So if you know how to pseudocode and you understand the fundamentals of the language you're learning, it'll be very easy for you to find your solutions to your problems on Google or Stack Overflow. So even if you don't know how to, let's say you don't know how to do something in a particular language, but you know what steps you need to take, you just don't know the syntax, then that will help you a lot. Yeah. So pseudocoding, computational thinking and problem solving.
Yeah, researching.
Yeah, it's not so much of, you need to know maths, you need to have a master's degree in maths or whatever. I don't. I'm actually quite bad at maths. I'm an arts major. But I came out fine. I'm coding. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree lah.
Yeah.
I think one key thing about learning to code is comprehension. I mean, understanding the problem statement is very important. I think one of the key challenges I see a lot of people have is that they want to jump straight into coding and giving the answers, but they actually didn't even answer the question in the first place. That's one of the biggest, understanding question, understanding the problem, and breaking the problem down into mini steps. That is so important. Imagine you have 100 lines of code, and then you write one thing, you just write lah. You didn't break down the problem statement. You just try to write. You write, by the end there 100 lines of code, and you click on the enter button or whatever button, and you run it, and then it says error. So my question is, which part of error? Where did the error occur? You don't even know, right? Because you never break down the problem statements. You never solve things part by part. Now you need to end up going all the way to your first line of code and start seeing where the problem is. So one key thing divide and conquer. Break everything down to smaller part. Solve part by part. Because when you run the code all the way, down, at least you go like, oh, first part okay, second part okay, third part something went wrong. So at least immediately it's the third part. So I think breaking down code is so important.
Yeah.
Breaking down your thought processes. Okay, so that is one thing. I think we have so we only have 15 minutes left, and we have a lot of questions to cover. So let's just see what other questions we can go into. Okay, wow, so many questions. Let's wait. Give us a second. Okay. Does Java or Jeffrey, if you're asking if JavaScript, so Java and JavaScript is two different languages, right? Which one can make a better design? Design-wise would be HTML and CSS, right? JavaScript creates interactivity. Like JavaScript creates while you hover over it, maybe some lights just pops out of nowhere. That is interactivity. So HTML is basically your content. CSS is the styling, right? So the styling, CSS is the one that controls the design, right?
Yeah. How it looks.
Yeah,
how the appearance,
it looks. Yeah.
The appearance of your HTML is on CSS.
JavaScript makes it interactive, makes it fun, right? Maybe when it comes in, like for example, you have seen those chat, right? Woo! Yeah, those kind of things. Yeah, JavaScript. When people scroll to this part of the page, then the chat will appear in the chat. The thing will just the thing will just grow up, like the thing will just grow like this.
A big part of user experience come from JavaScript.
So I hope that answers you. So many other questions that are coming in. Okay, but now we answer here first. We answer questions from Instagram. Which one? Okay, so we have one person asking this question. Should I learn algorithm first or coding first? Should I learn algorithm first or coding first?
I would say it depends on person, but logically you want to learn coding first. So you know the syntax. Once you know the syntax, and then you will know how to integrate your algorithm into the programming language. Logically, I would approach it this way. But I've seen people from the other side who also make very compelling arguments as to why the other way is okay. So I guess it depends on the person, on your learning style. Because if you learn the algorithm first, it's more like theoretical integration. Once you learn the programming first, then it becomes a practical integration. If it makes sense.
I love that. I love that. It's like this lah. It's like, poems, right? People love to talk about how to write poems. Poems are very nice, right? Flowers are roses are red, violets are blue. Blah blah blah. So poems, right? You can kind of learn poems first, but you kind of need to know English so that you can write poems, right? Then you can make it more practical, right? So I guess that's how you say, if you don't know English, writing poems will be tough. Right, you can maybe from even if you don't know English, you can listen to that tune, that tone. You're like, wow, actually, the last letters need to all sound alike, right? Yeah, you can do that, but only if you know English, you are able to apply and practice and actually write something. Yeah. So another question that someone asked here, Ziwei asked, right? How do you learn to code when you have a full-time job? How many hours per day do I need to set aside?
Okay. So you're putting in effort, like maybe after your classes or in college, or after your full-time job, get home and you just set a set amount of time to learn how to code. It's not more to how many hours per day. It's more to what goals you want to achieve on that day itself. So maybe today I want to learn how to write a loop in JavaScript. Okay. Then let's say I'm done in like 1 hour, because it's not that hard. Then assign yourself another goal, right? What I find is don't try to do too much at once. It can be really frustrating when you run into a wall. Like if you're doing a lot of coding in one go, in one day, in one sitting, it can really mentally affect you. You wouldn't be as efficient as if you do it in like small periods of time instead of like one big sitting. So pace yourself, set your goals, achieve your goals. It doesn't have to be like within a set time limit. Just learn at your own pace.
To me, consistency is key. Back then, I actually, long time ago, that was like so many years ago, 4 years ago, I tried learning Python by myself. And I only opened the computer once a week. And I realized that this week I learned something.
It doesn't stick, right?
It doesn't stick. But I don't touch, It was like when you start off, you're like, quite easy. You just do it, quite easy. I can remember. Then you just leave it be for 1 week.
Because you think you finish learning and then you advance. And then you forget the stuff that you learned earlier.
Exactly. Then next week come, I only open it once a week, okay? Then next week come, I'm like, let's continue from lesson 5 onwards. Then I was doing, I cannot even remember all my lesson 1 to lesson 4 things. So I was a classic example of that.
So consistency is key. You really have to repetitive exercise. Make yourself do it. So just remember what you learned the day before and then go through it like maybe spend
even half an hour, never mind.
Just spend a bit of time to go through it again before advancing to the next step.
Very true. Like okay, so now actually the way, if you're interested in learning part-time, you can check out Next Academy. So so one key thing we do tell our students is this: hey guys, there is class, yes, once a week to come to class, right? But at the same time, there is also mentorship throughout the week, right? Where you can meet your mentors face to face and sit down with them and walk through and do your coding together with them. So what happens is this, our key goal here is, you cannot just think that you come to class and then suddenly you remember everything. The key goal here is you still need consistency, but at the same time, you want to be able to maybe have a personalized time with your mentor. You can actually, get them to sit down together with you to solve problems solve the problems with you, right? So yeah, so if sometimes learning to code by yourself, it gets a bit lonely. The worst part is you were doing something and then you get stuck and you cannot find the answer. Like you have no idea why you're stuck. That was the worst for me. So sometimes you need that mentorship. But yeah, if you are really interested in learning to code, and I know that you're a full-time job, give us a call and then see if whatever we provide you will be a good solution for you or not, right? To cater to your full-time job. Okay. Okay. There's one very interesting question, right? Patrick asks, how do you get a freelance job when you just become a junior developer?
Okay, in my experience, it's not that hard. Actually, you just need to let people know that you are a developer, right? Always keep your name cards on hand. For me, funny story, because I use Grab a lot to travel around. So when small talk comes up, like driver, oh, so what are you doing? And say, oh, I'm a web developer, and like 40% of the time say, oh, I have a good idea for something. Can you pass me a name card? Stuff like that. Yeah, and sometimes it's from other people. Like my parents meet other people in, then they ask, oh, what's your son doing? And say, oh, he's a programmer or something. Then it's like, oh, cool. Maybe he can design my portfolio for me. So I've actually gotten jobs like that, like from doctors or people who are starting small businesses, and to design and build their websites just from telling people you're a developer. Yeah.
Yeah. First thing first, tell people that you're a developer. I think many times when people first start off, because when you first start off, you may not have the most confidence yet. So sometimes you start off by helping friends and family.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be the easiest.
That's the easiest.
Yeah.
Then make sure you do damn good. Okay.
Yeah.
Do a good job, because word of mouth is like fire, man. Like like fire that just spreads. If it's good, it's a fire that helps you burn. It's a good fire lah. If it's bad, it's a very bad fire.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you really need to, if once you commit to it, you have to really, really show your quality.
I really like what you say. You're in a cab and then people just say, "What you do, Oh,
yeah.
Are you apps off?" then the person go like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, literally like that. Yeah, like, oh, I got a good idea. Give me a name card, and I'll contact you sometime.
Yeah, so that's something that you can definitely think about. All right, so I think there's quite a number of questions. Really, quite a number of questions. Okay, so actually, I think Ziyan, there's a person by the name of Jiyin Fan. Jiyin Fan is, how should I learn to code? I'm a total newbie. I think this is very similar to another person who come. Rizal also asked, I learned coding by myself, but it's so hard for me. Any advice how to make it easier to study coding? So I guess both of them are beginners, and they all really want to learn to code. And learning by yourself is a bit hard. So what are your thoughts?
Come to Next Academy. Okay.
Come to Next Academy.
Okay. Once again, what are your goals?
Goals matter.
What are your goals? What do you hope to achieve from programming? That is a very important question you need to answer for yourself before you actually pick a language to start off with. But usually, it's better not to do it alone. Maybe you can get someone like-minded like you. Let's learn to code together, right?
Yeah.
And then you can bounce things off each other or correct each other.
Yeah.
This is what we call pair programming. Or you can find an already established developer, right? Like most of the time, they are very happy to help you.
Yeah.
There are no stupid questions.
Yeah.
Right? Just ask. Don't think that people will think you as stupid when you ask a question. Because if you always think that way, you won't learn anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe you can put yourself out there. You can join one of these meetups, like Ruby meetups, conventions, like depending on which language you're interested in. you don't have to be an expert to to go. You can just meet people, and make friends. Then you can learn how to code just from other people. But basically it's best not to do it alone.
I think
it's hard to do it alone. It's very hard because you don't have any clue. Even if you run the problem, you might not have the correct terms or words you need to Google your problem to solve your problem, because your fundamentals in the language it's not there yet. So it's better to have someone with experience to doesn't have to give you the answers. He can nudge you in the correct direction, give you the correct terms that you're looking for.
So guys, you know what to do. Don't need to learn alone. Come to Next Academy. But really, if you do come to Next Academy, what happens is that, there are mentors there to guide you. There are also peers, like-minded people who would maybe becoming your, become your colleague, your friend. Friend is definitely but colleagues sometimes becomes your employer, sometimes become your employee, sometimes become your investor, and there are all sorts of very interesting scenarios that we have seen. But I think one key thing, like-minded people and mentorship are key. But one key thing I would say is this: when you're here, when you join us, you definitely need to put in effort. This is a must. But you need to want to ask questions as well. You cannot just be afraid, everyone is, I scared that, I sound stupid. Right? There's no such thing as stupid questions.
No, you have to ask. If
you don't ask, you don't even know how to
You really have to
help
ask the questions when it comes to learning programming.
The key thing is this, right? Mentors are not mind readers, right? We cannot read minds, right?
I can tell you for sure, I still reach out to my former mentors once in a while when I run into a back-end problem. I still do. Even though I've been working as a programmer for 2 years, I still do reach out. When I run into problems, there's texting on WhatsApp. Hey, yo, I ran into this problem.
What should I do next? What should I do next?
Yeah.
So those are very normal. Those are very common. So not to worry. But if you want to come to a place, want to feel like you're in a community, want people to, push you hard and make you work hard also. Right. We will be there.
It's always nice to have a senior.
It's always nice to have a senior to help you through and a group of friends to really rah together with you, right? It's like
I had fun. The full-time course here was 10 weeks. 9 to 6.
So for you, did you when you guys were doing your final project, were you guys really literally eat, sleep, coffee every day?
Oh yeah.
Eat, sleep, code, coffee.
Oh yeah. Even on Saturdays we were here as well.
It was very interesting. People stay until 10, 11, 12 a.m. here.
Because it can be a struggle to get into it. When you start learning, but once you get the hang of it and then you start creating stuff, it's the feeling is it's so nice. Everything's at your fingertips. Especially when you do front end and you can see the result instantly on your browser.
That's very true.
So good.
The feeling of creation. Creation is a very nice feeling. Okay, so I think, it's already 8 o'clock. There are a few more questions, but I think the questions are very similar to some of the questions that we have answered just now, right? But guys, there are different things there are different, tech world is growing. There are different technology stacks, right? The key thing is not about struggling which technology stack to start, right? You need to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. So start somewhere, right? Those are very key thing. The language will only become a concern later. Really, very often it becomes a concern at the later point.
I think focus more on problem solving.
Problem solving is very, very important. So it will really help you guys to actually open up a lot of opportunities, right? Because everything you do need problem solving. Machine learning also need problem solving, right? Data also need problem solving. It's just different set of problems. So, and you also need to learn how to research, like what Ken said, researching. Also need to learn how to break down problems, right? What else do they need to remember?
Fundamentals.
Fundamentals over shortcuts. Okay?
If I run into a wall and I can't solve it, right? I just don't sit there and stare at my screen. I actually go out, I take a walk. Or I go out I go and
clear
eat.
your mind.
Funnily enough, sometimes the solution comes to me in those moments. I'll be sitting there and I'll be eating my chicken rice and oh, I haven't tried this yet. right? And I go back and I finish my lunch real quick, like, oh, I found a solution, right? It might work. So, and I'll go back to the office and like, then I run it, it's like, oh, it works.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not good to, run to a wall, you don't stress or wait too much. Just take a short break, have a snack, drink some milk, watch some TV.
Yeah.
And it's like in those quiet moments, the solution will suddenly come to you in the most unexpected of times.
Yeah. It's always like that, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Okay, so final thing, to you. What advice do you have for people who wants to learn to code?
Commit to it. Yeah. Like if you really want to do it, then you really have to commit to it, because I can tell you from what I've seen, experience is not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If you really, really want it, then really put your time into it. Don't get hung up on all the latest frameworks and everything. Just work on your fundamentals. And also work, pace yourself accordingly. Different people have different learning styles. Like for me, I'm a very visual person. Reading documentation is like a blank on my mind. So
so important.
But
the worst part is
to each their own.
The worst part if the other person, the documentation was written in some ways that you don't really like.
Yeah.
There are all sorts of people writing different sort of documentation. Really, some you read, you're like, what is this person trying to say?
So pace yourself, like work on the fundamentals, really commit to it.
Yeah. Okay.
You once you start to see results, you really start getting into it. Yeah.
So guys, from a graphic designer / photographer to a coder at Indochine Media, right? You call it Indochine or Indochine?
Indochine Media Ventures.
Okay, Indochine Media Ventures. Okay, guys. So you guys can do it too. It doesn't like for you. Are you good at math?
No.
Okay, he's not good at math. Okay. Are you from any IT background? Last time, no, he's not. Okay, and then now he is working as a developer. 2 years already, right?
2 years.
And 2 years already. So guys, you guys can do it too. And before we really end, so for us at Next Academy, we have if you guys are working and you want to start learning to code part-time, do join us. It's happening soon, right? It's happening in 2 or 3 weeks time. Do join us for our part-time coding course. Call us up and inquire so that we could actually reach out to you and also share with you some of the things that may suit you, because we need to know a little bit more about what are your goals, and we want to see if we can help you achieve those goals or not. So looking forward to have you around, and stay tuned for the next one. The next one is happening in a few weeks time. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that you have a amazing time. So feel free to, the next time when we come back again, feel free to join back in and then ask us questions again, right? We look forward to have you. For some of you guys, we are not able to answer all the questions because there are quite a number of questions, but we will look through it and see how best we can help debunk some of the assumptions that you guys have, or also answer some of the questions you guys have. All right, so that's pretty much it. You want to say goodbye to this?
Bye.
Bye guys. Okay. That's like the poor child who is being neglected. Okay, bye guys.